And where is it better to discuss Star Trek than on the holodeck? EV.com reveals more and more of their interview with showrunners Aaron Herberts and Gretchen J. Berg, and now they have revealed where the story of Star Trek Discovery is headed, and also that they know they are borrowing the visual style from the JJ movies. If you are new here and like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. This way you become part of Team Awesome and won't miss any new videos. As the showrunners say, Discovery is heavily serialized with plenty of twists and turns, particularly in the first 2 episodes, which make the storyline difficult to discuss. But they revealed that Sinequa Martin Green is a Starfleet officer who was the first human to attend the Vulcan Science Academy. Aaron Herbert said Burnham has spent a lot of time on Vulcan, but she is a human. Sarek, Spock's father, played by James Frain, plays an important role in her life, which has been completely planned out until she makes a very difficult choice that sends her life on a very different path. When we meet her, she is the first officer on the starship Shenzhou, captained by Philippa Georgiou, played by Michelle Yeoh. And Burnham's choice that we're alluding to is most difficult choice. It affects her, affects Starfleet, affects the Federation, it affects the entire universe. That choice leads her to a different ship, the Discovery, helmed by Captain Lorca, played by Jason Isaacs. And there we begin what Gretchen and I call our second pilot. Thinking about this statement from the showrunners, it might be that Burnham does something as they encounter the Klingons in the pilot, maybe accidentally killing the Klingon Emperor, as we see the Klingons in what seems to be a death ritual with the Klingon death scream and everything. Maybe she throws the Federation in a Klingon Federation war. I think the Shenzhou will be destroyed in the pilot and Saru and Michael Burnham end up on the Discovery. And what do you need if you are in a war with the Klingons? Yes, you need Captain Lorca, from whom we got a description as being steely and brilliant military tactician. I think there comes the mentioned second pilot in play, as it might happen that we won't see the Discovery for the majority part of the pilot. At least that's what I think will happen. Maybe the Discovery will warp in at the last second to rescue the situation, and what better introduction do you need for a starship than a badass moment dropping out of warp answering a distress call from the Shenzhou. As Burnham is the first track lead who is not a captain, they at EV.com asked the showrunners what that choice adds to the drama. Here I must note that maybe chronologically in the universe she will be the first lead not being a captain, as Sisko from DS9 also started out as a commander. Burke replied, the joy is in the journey. The advantage to her not being in charge of the breach right now is we get to tell stories from a very different point of view. It's a fresh feeling because we're not on the breach all the time, we get access to more parts of the ship. I'm okay with more drama and to be able to see more parts of the ship, as we never got to see the Dolphins on the TNG Enterprise. But what stood out to me the most in this statement was that Burke said that she is not in charge of the breach right now. So she implies that down the road it's the plan that Sinequa Martin Green's Michael Burnham will take the command of the Discovery. As there will be more drama on the Discovery, does this mean that somewhere down the line we can expect Captain Lorca to die or to be replaced by Burnham? They asked the showrunners what are the biggest Trek influences for the Discovery, and they continued. There's a hint of all of them, but in the writers' room, the writers are so in love with the original Star Trek series, The Next Generation, and they talk about the family aspect of those cast members. And Herberts added, I think Nick Meyers' films are a touchstone, and not just because he's been on the staff with us, but his storytelling is complex and intellectual, and yet there's a lot of room for character voices and character work. He's done such an incredible job with the franchise in terms of scope, scale. There's something about Star Trek, the motion picture, that really speaks to us all. CBS allowed us to film a cinematic language that's wider in scope. Our aspect ratio is 2:1, and it just lends itself to a very lyrical way of telling the story. And just visually speaking, there's also a hint in terms of what JJ Abrams did a little bit in terms of some of the visuals. I like what they are saying about the influences and from where they are getting them, but if I was in their place, I would left out the bit about the JJ movies inspired cinematic storytelling, as I can imagine the true Star Trek fans will read them apart for this statement. As I said before in my videos, we must ask ourselves, if we were in their position, what would we do? Would we in 2017 do a 60s vision of the future? Would we do a 2017's vision of the future? I know they maneuvered themselves into a corner by setting the show 10 years before TOS. If they had said it post Voyager, they would not have any of those problems, but it's obvious that CBS also wants to capitalize the JJ movie fans, offer them something familiar. I'm all for it that they bring in new fans, as I'm certain that after they watch the Discovery, they will discover all the wonderful Trek we are enjoying for decades. I can't wait for the first and the so-called second pilot to arrive to see if I was right or not with my theories, but I'm pretty good at predicting storylines, so it might happen. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and consider to subscribe. Don't forget to check out some of my other Star Trek videos. Thank you for watching, and I see you in my next video.